Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Yesterday the Champions League group stage draw was done. Manchester United have got Villarreal. Hopefully we can get revenge on them from last season's Europa League final. We've also got Atlanta and we've got Young Boys. So on paper, Manchester United should get to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Now, I want to give you some news on Diego Dalot. So according to Sky Sports News, Borussia Dortmund are in talks to sign Manchester United right back Diego Dalot. Borussia Dortmund are interested in a loan with an option to buy next summer. A few weeks ago, it said it's very likely that Diego Dalot will stay at Manchester United. He was impressive throughout pre-season. We got Diego Dalot 3 years ago from Porto. We paid 19 million. Diego Dalot has got a contract with Man United until 2023. Last season he enjoyed a loan spell with AC Milan. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still wants to sign Declan Rice this summer, but faces a battle for the West Ham midfielder. Declan Rice has rejected 3 contract offers at West Ham. Declan Rice mentioned that he's unhappy with West Ham's 100 million price tag. I'd certainly take Declan Rice at Manchester United. The reasons is because he's still young, he's got a lot of development in him, he'd fit in our team perfectly. He's predominantly a holding midfielder and Man United need a holding midfielder. Declan Rice can also be deployed as a centre half. He breaks up the play well and he's well proven in the Premier League, so they are the reasons. Rice has been at West Ham for a good 7 years or so. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Before West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in their youth setup for several years, but actually never got in Chelsea's first team. Now yesterday I gave you the news on Saul Niguez and Eduardo Camavinga. Saul Niguez is not expected to make a move to Old Trafford. He said Man United are not considering a move for Niguez. A few days ago, reports were saying that Saul Niguez is set to complete an imminent transfer to Man United, and it said we would bring Niguez in on an initial loan deal. Said Man United would pay a loan fee, and it said we'd pay the midfielders full wages for the entire season, and it said that The loan deal would include an option to buy or maybe even an obligation to buy. Reports from AS said that Niguez is on the verge of leaving Atletico Madrid. Chelsea have overtaken Man United in the race to sign Saul Niguez. Chelsea have put an official bid in. It's an initial loan with an option to buy next summer. Before the start of the season, it said that Man United had made contact with the agents of Saul Niguez. And it said his agents were due in England for talks with Manchester United and Liverpool. Niguez has a gentleman's agreement in place with Atletico Madrid that will allow him to leave. He's remained loyal to Atletico Madrid for so long. He's been with them for like 13 years, risen up their academy. He's made over 300 appearances for Atletico Madrid in all competitions. He has a £128 million release clause. He's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026 because back in 2017 he signed a 9-year contract. Niguez can be deployed as a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder. It would be good for Niguez though to come and experience the Premier League. I think he'd exceed expectations in the Premier League. Manchester United accelerate Eduardo Camavinga interest. Rennes are prepared to sell Camavinga for 30 million. Reports from France said the other day that Camavinga is set to leave Rennes before the transfer window closes. Camavinga has made Rennes supporters aware that he played his final game at the club. Fabrizio Romano has spoken a lot about the Camavinga transfer saga. He said the other week that Camavinga has two options this summer, including Man United. Camavinga's current contract at Rennes expires next year. There's 4 days left of the summer transfer window. Solskjaer is pushing to make one more signing before the transfer window closes. The Manchester Evening News did say not so long ago that Man United are unlikely to make any more signings before the summer transfer window closes. Solskjaer's priority is to get a midfielder in. Man United have made 3 signings in this summer transfer window. We brought Tom Heaton in on a free from Aston Villa. We brought Jadon Sancho in from Borussia Dortmund. And we brought Rafael Varane in from Real Madrid. And we spent around £114 million. Man United have enjoyed a good summer transfer window. Solskjaer mentioned earlier on in the window that he's been very pleased with our summer transfer business. Solskjaer has received the backing he deserves. Surprisingly, our owners, the Glazers, have backed him only because they've been persuaded to. Because towards the end of last season, a lot of United fans protested against the Glazers at Old Trafford. Because the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League. But Solskjaer did reveal that the Glazers apologised. And it said at one point the Glazers could have been forced to sell Man United, but for only £4 billion. Now, back in June, which was earlier on this year, Joe Glazer attended a fans forum and he promised Manchester United supporters that Solskjaer would get the funds that were available. That the Glazers have been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time because they've put Man United in so much debt. They've been at the club for 16 years. The Glazers purchased the club for $500 million back in 2005. You've got Woodward that stood by Solskjaer. Woodward has said several times before that he'd back Solskjaer, and when was enduring them bad periods under Solskjaer, Woodward assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. Woodward's leaving Man United. He got announced he was leaving when that European Super League came into the equation. Woodward's had a 16-year association with the club. He's been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time though, because Woodward's obviously been accountable for how poor our recruitment was for so long. We've overpaid for players in recent years. And Woodward should have never been put into the position in the first place where he makes the footballing decisions. John Murtough, he's also backed Solskjaer. He's our director of football, and Man United certainly made the right decision getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes we needed at the club. We've got Matt Judge that's part of the club, and so too Darren Fletcher, he's part of the club. And a while ago he had a few meetings and that with John Murtough and Solskjaer to discuss our transfer plans. This summer transfer window has been Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. Manchester United have to sell to buy, and like I've mentioned, we have not sold one single player in this summer transfer window. I'm surprised at that. I thought we'd have sold at least one. We have loaned quite a few players out. We recently loaned Brandon Williams out to Norwich. We loaned Andres Pereira out to Flamengo. We loaned Ethan Laird out to Swansea. We loaned Axel Tuanzebe out to Aston Villa. We loaned Tahith Chong out to Birmingham. And we loaned Facundo Pellistri out to Alaves. Looks like Jimmy Garner's going out on loan. Solskjaer did mention that before the Southampton game. And I'm expecting Amad Dalot to go out on loan, because Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Amad Dalot is still expected to leave Man United on loan. He mentioned that Crystal Palace have asked for him, and so too have Sheffield United. But he's only interested in Premier League clubs. Atlanta want to re-sign Amad Dalot on loan. But prior to the Southampton game, Solskjaer said he expects Amad Dalot to stay at Man United this season. Solskjaer mentioned that he was impressed with Amad Dalot in training. We brought Amad Dalot in back in January. Got him from Atlanta in a deal worth £37 million. We paid £19 million up front. And he's got a contract with Man United until 2025. But I've already gone through with you the players that should leave Manchester United. I think we need to offload Phil Jones. But that won't happen in this summer transfer window because it said Phil Jones is set to stay at Man United this season after Solskjaer told him he remains part of his plans. Jones made his comeback from injury in that behind closed doors game against Burnley. Jones was out with a knee injury for a long time. He actually sustained the injury in the FA Cup game against Tranmere. Jones has been a long-serving player at Man United. He's enjoyed 10 years at the club. He's the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era. We brought Jones in from Blackburn. I'd also like us to offload Dalot. I also want us to offload Victor Lindelof, but that won't happen in this summer transfer window. Matic, I also want us to offload him, but we won't offload him in this summer transfer window. Donny van de Beek, I think Man United need to sell him because Donny van de Beek is not getting enough game time at Man United. Fred, I want us to offload him because he's not good enough to represent the club, and like I've said to you, I've got my strong reservations about him. Jesse Lingard, I also want us to offload him. We've got 4 days to get rid of Jesse Lingard. And Martial, I'd also like us to offload him, but we won't in this summer transfer window. I'm expecting some players to leave Man United in January next year, and I presume we'll get rid of more players next summer. Man United have got a good squad now, obviously with us bringing Sancho and Varane in. I thought the squad was decent before they came in, but obviously it's much better now. If we can get that final signing on the board, the squad will be even better. Raphael Varane, he's very, very good. I'm expecting Varane to make his debut for the club against Wolves this Sunday. Varane didn't play any part against Southampton last weekend, surprisingly. Varane to Manchester United was official just before the Leeds game on the opening day. We got Varane in a deal worth, 43 million with add-ons included. Man United paid like 34 million up front. Varane signed a 4-year contract with Man United. There's an option of a 5th year. And Varane is wearing the number 19 shirt. Varane is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced and he's got a fantastic pedigree as a player because he won a lot of trophies when he was at Real Madrid. What a fantastic centre-back partnership that is, Varane and Harry Maguire, because they'll complement each other very well. Jadon Sancho, he's a good player, and I think he's going to do well at Man United, providing that Solskjaer uses him right. Surprisingly, Solskjaer didn't start Sancho last weekend against Southampton. A lot of United fans criticised Solskjaer for not starting Sancho. He did come on in the game against Southampton. I'm expecting Jadon Sancho to make his first Premier League start for Man United this Sunday against Wolves. Sancho to Man United was confirmed on the 23rd of July. We got Sancho in a deal worth 78 million with add-ons included. And Sancho's under contract with Man United until June 2026. There's an option of a further year. At Man United, I'm convinced he'll replicate what he did in his 4 years with Borussia Dortmund. Tom Heaton, he's a decent goalkeeper. We obviously brought him in as a backup. To Tom Heaton's credit, he did well throughout pre-season. We brought Tom Heaton in on a free. He's under contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. Dean Henderson, he's a very, very good goalkeeper. Obviously, he has been unavailable due to COVID. He's nearing a return now, though. Dean Henderson did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. He kept a lot of clean sheets and his distribution was good. Some games he was poor though last season. I thought he was very poor against Burnley at Old Trafford last season. He was poor in the 4-2 defeat to Liverpool. Made some errors. Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him. He enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before. And before the start of last season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. I still highly rate David De Gea, despite him making a lot of mistakes in the last couple of years. De Gea has been in goal for our first 2 league games. So he was in goal for the game against Leeds on the opening day. Didn't really have much to do. Couldn't do anything about Luke Ayling's goal. It was a good goal, best goal of that game. He made a couple of saves to deny Click and Jack Harrison. And he was in goal for the Southampton game. Didn't really have much to do in that. He produced a fantastic save to deny Adam Armstrong, and he made a save from that James Ward-Prowse free kick. Couldn't do anything about Fred's own goal. De Gea has been a long servant at Manchester United. He's endured 10 years at the club. So he's been with us since the Ferguson era. This is his 11th season. A few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world because he's won everything domestically at the football club and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. David De Gea has like 2 years left on his contract and he receives £375,000 a week. When De Gea leaves Man United, there's a very good chance he'll go back to Spain, like I've mentioned before. The reasons is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain. He began his footballing career in Spain. And back in 2015 he was very close to joining Real Madrid, but due to fax machine his move to Madrid didn't materialise. You know, if we were to sell David De Gea in January or next summer, I reckon we'd get from between 40 to 50 million pound. But we know he's staying for this season because earlier on in the summer, you know, De Gea decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place, and he said he's determined to fight for his Man United future. But it's good that De Gea has remained loyal to us for so long. And Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's a good right back. He's probably the best right back we've had since Gary Neville. Defensively, Wan-Bissaka has always been good. These aspects of his game that I've got to improve, and Wan-Bissaka's got to show more attacking intent. He's got to improve his crossing, I'd say. I thought Bissaka was very poor against Southampton last weekend. His positioning was poor, didn't show much attacking intent, and his passing was abysmal. This is Wan-Bissaka's 3rd full season. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth 50 million from Palace back in the summer of 2019. Eric Bailly, he's also a decent centre-half, but my element of concern about Eric Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect is a liability. He is. Towards the end of last season, Eric Bailly signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's an option of a further year. He said earlier on this summer that Bailly's future was in doubt following the arrival of Raphael Varane. But we should keep Bailly as a backup, so if Varane or Maguire get injured, then Bailly is the plan B. We've got a lot of centre-halves, obviously Lindelof's there as well, but like I've said to you before, I prefer Bailly to Lindelof. Bailly's been out recently due to personal reasons. We got Bailly from Villarreal back in 2016. We paid 30 million for him. Brought him in under the Jose Mourinho era. Harry Maguire, he's a decent centre half. He's had his good games at Man United. He's had his bad games. I thought he was quite poor last weekend against Southampton. It was a big miss for us towards the end of last season because he had ligament damage in his ankle. We should now get the best out of Harry Maguire with Varane alongside him. What a centre-back partnership that is. We overpaid for Harry Maguire, got him in a deal worth 80 million from Leicester. Luke Shaw, very, very good left back. He's enjoyed a good start to this season. He was good against his former club Southampton last weekend, and he did well in the opening day against Leeds. Luke Shaw was very good last season. Luke Shaw's been our first choice left back for a while, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Tellez last year. Shaw's had a good career at Man United despite the injuries he's sustained. Shaw's been with us for like 7 years, so he's been a long-serving player. We are in the process of extending Luke Shaw's contract. Scott McTominay, he's a decent player. McTominay needs more time at the club. He's been part of the club for a long time as it stands. He's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. He had some good games last season, McTominay. By the way, McTominay's going to be missing the game against Wolves on Sunday because he's got a groin injury. I think he's had surgery on his groin. Just after the first lockdown last year, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United. Paul Pogba, he's also good. He's enjoyed a good start to the season. Paul Pogba has got 5 assists. He got an assist in the game against Southampton last weekend, and he got 4 assists in the opening day against Leeds. Pogba produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season, but one point last season he was out with a thigh injury for a while, and he sustained some ankle injuries at Man United. Pogba is expected to stay at Man United for at least this season. Solskjaer said prior to the game against Southampton that talks are ongoing with Pogba's representatives to persuade Pogba to sign a new contract. Solskjaer mentioned that he's not worried about Pogba's contract situation, and Solskjaer expects Pogba to still be a Man United player when the transfer window closes at the end of the month. The Athletic said not so long ago that Man United is set to make Pogba the highest paid player at the club with a new 5-year contract worth £400,000 a week. Pogba receives $290,000 a week at the moment on his current contract. Paul Pogba's contract expires next summer. Sky Sports said not so long ago that Pogba is very likely to leave Man United on a free next summer when his contract expires. Bruno Fernandes, he's obviously very, very good. He's our best player, and he's probably the best signing we have made since Ferguson retired. Bruno Fernandes put an average performance out last weekend against Southampton, but on the opening day against Leeds, he got his first Manchester United hat-trick. Didn't he? In most of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent, but there's also been quite a few games where he's looked off the pace. Fernandes has been at Man United now for over a year and a half, and he's made it clear that he doesn't want to leave the club. He's happy to stay at Old Trafford as contract talks go on. Mason Greenwood, he's been an absolute revelation since he broke into our senior squad. Edison Cavani's also made an impact since he's coming. He's staying for this season, and after this season Cavani will be leaving. So obviously next summer we are looking to get a striker to replace him. Cavani's been unavailable recently. Is it due to personal reasons? And Marcus Rashford is good when he wants to be, but Rashford has endured his bad periods at Man United. He was out of form towards the end of last season, plus Rashford has become injury prone, which is a concern. Rashford is out with a shoulder injury until October. Earlier on in the summer, Rashford decided to have surgery on his shoulder. So there you go. So anyway guys, I'll be doing more videos soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.